What's up, everybody? Happy Memorial Day, and thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in tonight. I know you all should probably be out partying, drinking, and having a good old freaking time, but I'm super happy you're all here hanging out with us tonight. Tonight, we've got Charlie of Gray Rider Reptiles joining us. So we're going to be diving deep into that genetic testing aspect of that's just basically taking the hobby by storm. But before we do dive into that, though, we are going to find out, excuse me, I can't speak at the moment, apparently. We're going to find out a little bit more about Charlie as well, and, just see what project he's working on, where he's taking those projects, what we can expect to see from him this season. So let's bring him out, and then we'll say hi to everybody that's out here in the chat already.
What's up?
What's up, Charlie? Thanks for joining me tonight, bro.
No problem. Anytime, man.
You have brought in a whole bunch of people already, brother. Let me tell you. First off, we got Paul at Large Marge Morse. Thank you, Paul, for tuning in. And on top of it, Paul, thank you very much for being a channel member. Greatly appreciate it, bro. We got Will from Will's Hella Heat. What's going on? Also another channel member. Thank you very much, Will. Appreciate the support, bro. Red Moon Royals, what's up? We've got you.
I'm in the chat. I'm in the chat.
Kevin, Sugar Skull Serpents, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. We got Brotherhood Exotic Morse. What's going on? Let's see here. My brother Phil, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in, bro. Good to see you in the chat. Got Jeremy and Holly for Snakes from the Memories. What's going on, guys? Great to see you. Baker, what's up, bro? Good to see you. We got to get you on here, Baker. We got to reschedule you. And, yep, there's that awesome shirt. I love the Baker's logo, man. I absolutely freaking love the logo. M&K Exotics. Mike, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. New face as well, I do believe. Everybody, if you are new to watching the channel, hit that subscribe button, please, for me. I greatly appreciate all the support. Hit that notification bell as well. That way you guys know when I upload another video. Because let's face it, I've got some killer guests coming on this year. And on top of it, I think the content I'm putting out as far as normal video-wise is pretty darn good. So, hey, click it, enjoy it.
If you want to sell some snakes, show them right now. Mike will buy everything. He buys everything.
In that case, I got some hatchlings that are ready to go. They're normals, though, but they're double head.
They'll pay double for them.
Hey, that's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. Stephen and Courtney Leviathan Snakes, what's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in. Mint Boas, what's going on? Let's see here. Tommy, Inky Clouds, what's up? Thanks for tuning in tonight. Hopefully I said that correctly.
I think it's Tommy.
Is it Tommy? Okay. I never know how to pronounce stuff half the time. I do apologize if for anybody that I do butcher your names or anything. I apologize. Ken, what's up, dude? Thanks for tuning in. That catches us up. All right, awesome. So before we dive into this, I want to thank the sponsors of this week's episode real quick, and they would be my brother. Yep, there we go. Well, let me take the comment section down here quick. My brother Nathan at Infinite Possible Pythons, guys. If you have any branding needs, merch-wise, banners, backdrops, tablecloths, any of that stuff, Nathan is the person to go to. He's your one-stop shop for all your branding needs. And on top of it, if you are looking to get into the Bang project, this is the guy you want to talk to right here. He's basically the head of the Bang project now. So hit Nathan up. If you have any questions or you want to get into it, he can hook you up. He's working some other awesome ball python projects. He's also doing some kahua geckos, crested geckos, leachianus geckos, scaleless corn snakes. Nathan's working a little bit of everything here on some projects, so definitely hit him up because he's got some killer stuff. And like I said, Bang, guys, the Bang project. It's something that you do not want to sleep on. And then we also got my brother Chris at S Reptilia. Thank you, Chris, for sponsoring this week's episode as well, bro. Chris is basically a one-stop shop, everybody, for whatever you want reptile-wise. I mean, he's got ball pythons, blood pythons, boas, colubrids. I mean, the man works just about everything that you can imagine. And he's always adding different projects into the mix to keep he likes to keep things a little spiced up. And, he does it, I can say this, he does not get bored with his collection. He's got a lot of stuff going on there. So hit Chris up. Plus, he is also, if you're in Eastern PA, hit Chris up. Rats. I actually just got some from him here recently. And then on top of it, if you're looking for Coco, he is Pennsylvania's distributor of Coco to Go and the Chipper. And if you're not in PA or near PA, he can also help you find your local distributor. But Coco to Go is what I consider the best cocoa substrate on the market. And also, we've got
Gettysburg Reptile Expo LLC is located at the All-Star Event Complex in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. A 45,000 square foot venue with 125 plus vendors and top quality breeders, along with 270 plus tables. If you're looking for a python, boa, colubrid, gecko, lizard, or amphibian, you've come to the right place. Doesn't matter if you're a breeder looking for that missing piece to your project or a pet owner looking for your next scaly friend, Gettysburg Reptile Expo LLC has you covered. Need an incubator or rack system? They have you covered with sea serpents set up there to meet all your needs. The next show dates are March 18th, July 15th, and November 11th of 2023. Show times are from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Make sure to check them out on their website, Instagram, and Facebook. Mark your calendars because this is one show you don't want to miss. So I'll see you at Gettysburg Reptile Expo LLC.
All right, and I've got two more final things, everybody. One, if you're not using Husbandry Pro, click our affiliate link in the description down below or scan that QR code right there on screen. It'll get you a free 30-day trial. Definitely saves me a crap load of time. Plus, they just added a new social media. I guess it's kind of like a Facebook thing. It's called Herp Social. It also links into your Husbandry Pro, so it also adds like a whole nother place for you to be able to sell your snakes and stuff. So definitely check it out. And like I said, I don't know what tier it kicks in with that you can link your Husbandry Pro to your Herp Social, but it's another selling platform, and really enjoyed so far. It's kind of like like I said, it's almost like a Facebook type of thing, but it's all reptile people. So it's pretty freaking cool. And it's definitely what I consider to be the best reptile record keeping and tracking software on the market. And it's for anything. You don't have to use it for just ball pythons. And there's somebody I think that uses it for their oil changes and crap. So you can use use the app for just about anything you can imagine. Then also Redline shipping, guys. If you're not using it, give them a shot. I'm not affiliated with them yet. We're working on it, but use code Robin60 for 60% off your next 2 shippings. And I greatly enjoy my experience so far with Redline shipping, so I definitely give them a shot. All right, that catches me up on all my spiel. I appreciate all the sponsors and everything. We've paid our bills. Let me get my little banner here across the bottom. Now let's dive into what everybody's here for, because, I mean, we're like above 20 people already, which is freaking awesome. So, Charlie, tell us a little bit about yourself. What got you into the hobby? And, yeah, we'll just dive into it from there.
Sounds good. Yeah, Charlie, Gray Rider Reptiles. I was like most people, had reptiles my whole life. Iguanas back when they were big, anole lizards. We'd catch snakes. I'm from Brooklyn, New York, and by the water, there'd be all these little water snakes. Catch them, put them in a tank, and kill them or let them go in like a week because I had no idea what I was doing. Then I had my first ball python was a normal from a pet store, probably back in the late 90s. And then went to college, so got rid of that. And then when I got back from college, probably early 2008, I wanted to get back into it. I used to go to the White Plains show a lot, and I bought like a possible head albino male and a head albino female. And then on Fauna Classifieds, I bought a pastel female and a bamboo, a spider male back in 2008. And then my wife made me sell everything right before we got married, and I never bred them or anything. And then probably a year and a half, 2 years ago now, I have another side business where I make signs and metal stuff and CNC things. Like I made that sign for my logo up there. And so I built a big building on my property for my machines. And then when I was doing that, I was like, man, I could probably put a little room up here for snakes since my wife doesn't want them in the house. So then I built like a 20 by 15 room finished it just for snakes, and then you just start buying them, and then that's it. It's over. You're just stuck.
It's all over from there.
Yeah. So
that's funny because your wife, like you had them the whole time up until you guys got married, then essentially, correct?
We owned an apartment in Westchester, New York, right outside of the city, and it was a 1-bedroom apartment. And I built a melamine rack in our like kitchen. So this huge, bulky rack for 4 snakes I built, and she was just like, "We're gonna have tons of people coming in and out the next few weeks. You're not doing anything with these snakes. Come on, could you just get rid of them?" I was like, "All right." So I sold them, and she's like, "When we get a house, you could do it." So then we got a house probably a couple of years later, and I really don't want them in the house. You said when we had a house, we could. Okay. Now we bought a bigger house and more property, and she still was like, I had a bearded dragon up until like last year. It died. Turtles and stuff. She's fine with reptiles. We have panther chameleons, but she's not a huge fan of snakes. She appreciates the ball pythons and the genetics and everything like that, and she'll look at them. She'll come in the snake room. She's not like freaked out by them or anything, but she has no desire to, hold one or anything.
Yeah.
And then, so.
Sorry, go ahead.
But yeah, now that I have a whole room outside of my house, she don't care what I do.
Dude, that's kind of like similar to how my wife was. Only when I had snakes before my wife, and then I got out of them for a little while. We got married, and I approached her as it's like I'd really like to get a snake again.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, she was not a snake person at all. It took a lot of coaxing to get her to, okay, just one. And once she saw that they weren't that bad, then I got her conned to let me get another one, and then a third. And then I was like, I could actually make some money doing this if you would just let me breed them. And she finally warmed up to the thought of it. Mm-hmm. And now here I am. I've got a snake room. I need to expand the snake room. And if she'll hold them, but she wants nothing to do with them unless I'm around. So, but she does like to see the babies. She does like when the babies are hatching. She enjoys hatchling season. Let's see.
Here she came cutting eggs. So my son, he came in the egg, all that. She finds it in.
Oh yeah.
Come to all the me and all that. Which one she thinks cool, but she has no desire to handle them.
No, that's where I'm at basically too. Phil says I buy my wife bribes with some of the profits. That's some thinking, Phil. That's some thinking. Did you freeze up, Charlie? Or are you good?
Green.
You're frozen up on my end. Everybody in the chat, is Charlie moving on your end? Oh, there he moved. We must have a goofy connection here or something tonight. It's all right. It's all good. Let's see here. Everybody, if you have questions for Charlie as we go through here, drop them in the chat. I'll star them, and when it makes sense to get to them, we'll go through and ask them. But we are going to get into the genetic testing stuff here a little bit later into the show. So if you have genetic test questions, hold off on those until a little bit later. All right, Ken says you're freezing up a little bit. Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't. Now you're moving smooth as could be. So
I had it on like my TV and my phone, so maybe I was just backing it up here, but I can't see comments now. So
I'll flash them up there and everything like periodically for you. Ken says his oldest daughter is starting to warm up to the ideal of more than 2 snakes. But let's see. Blue Zombie, what's up? Thanks for tuning in. John Inquiline, what's up, brother? Thanks for tuning in. Good to see you in the chat. Everybody, if I missed you, I apologize, everybody. I do try to do the shout outs as best as I can, but sometimes it just kind of gets away from me. What species are you working with, Charlie?
I have about 20 something ball pythons and one super dwarf retic.
Okay. Now, do you plan on doing any breeding with the retics or anything, or is that just basically a pet?
It's a male. I bought one male. He's 100% super dwarf, so he's a little over a year old and he's tiny still.
Okay.
I just wanted something. I'm probably going to get another one, but I want more display type animals in this room rather than just the racks. So
yeah, I get you with that one.
Yeah.
That's kind of like with the carpets here. I mean, like I was so happy to get those PVC enclosures because now it makes the perfect backdrop. Now I just got to get a desk that it makes sense to have like in the middle of the rooms. That way they're a little bit closer.
Right.
But I was hoping none of them are even out really. I always like it when they're out and moving around. It gives everybody something else to like watch instead of my
that'd be cool.
bug. But so what projects are you working on specifically? Like what's your primary project, and then what are some of the other projects you're kind of working with as well to complement that?
So this year, acid is pretty much my primary thing. I have two males that are pretty good, and they've gone to almost everything I have. But my main recessive project would be like the candy pied.
Okay.
And now I'm trying to get candy clown pied. Sal Gomez, actually, from Gomez Pythons. I got two female het candy clowns from him, and he's hooking me up with a male clown het candy het pied, which was possible het pied, and I tested it for him, and it's pied. So he has a couple. So he's hooking me up with one of them. But yeah, the candy pied stuff, and then just trying to get acid into as many recesses as I can. I want to go for a dark clown type thing. That's what my main plans are, is to get, blackhead, black pastel, acid, clown, things like that.
Dude, that's like top priority for me to get this season. Now, it should work out because I'm trading a jungle carpet baby for an acid baby. From my brother and sister Jeff and Angie there at Celtic Falls. They're really doing me a huge solid on that trade. But that's something where like I'm excited to get that. I want to see like acid exanthic stuff. So I'm with you on that acid boat, man. The acid just craziness it throws into everything. I love it.
Yeah, now, I like dark jeans, and I remember back in probably like 2014, 15, being at a show and seeing dreamsicles, and I was like, holy cow, this is awesome. And so then when I got back in, I was like, oh, I got to get a dreamsicle or make a dreamsicle. Then I saw that everybody has them, and then I saw Gomez Python's YouTube, and I saw him on Baker's actually YouTube, Blue Line Morphs, and they were showing off candy stuff. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I'm like, that's a little different. Not everybody's doing candy, so I chose candy instead of lavender.
Okay.
But so yeah, I like it. It's fun.
Now, on the acid side of it, what made you pick acid over, like here Baker saying about he's working confusion really hard this year, like over confusion? I think static's one of them as
static, confusion, acid. I think they're all the same thing. I'm pretty sure, but I was looking last year just at Morph Market trying to see what there wasn't a lot of. I almost got into tri-stripe, and then a lot of people started buying that, and then I saw an acid. I was like, wow, this thing is awesome. Like I saw an acid clown, and I was like, wow, I want to do that. It was just a matter of what I saw. The confusion, acid, I think they're the same thing. So
that's I kind of think so too. I did notice some people say that one's got more like a crazier pattern than the others, but I've seen it where they all basically look like it just does some crazy shit.
I got all my acid stuff from Jay Royals. He's the guy who founded acid.
Okay.
And he has tons of it, and he has like crazy stuff. And I spent a lot of time on the phone with him, and he he hooked me up with a couple good males. So.
No, what male, like, what are your big acid males that you have running?
So I have 2 acid males. I have a blackhead, black pastel acid, and I have a super Wookie acid.
Ooh, dude, that super Wookie acid's got to be wicked looking.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Want me to grab it?
Yeah, dude, go ahead, man. Here, I'll put you up on the big screen. Who does not want to see freaking badass snakes? Brandon, what's up? Thanks for tuning in, bro. Good to see you. Oh, dude. Wait, that's the one on the thumbnail, right?
No, the one on the thumbnail is the blackhead, black pastel. They both pretty much lose a lot of the side pattern when they have all these dark genes in them, but you can see it on the sides and the belly.
Dude, that thing is freaking. That's gorgeous, dude.
So right now I have the only clutch I have in the incubator is from him to a candy female to try to hopefully just get a bunch of Wookie acid het candies.
Okay.
And get that going. But,
dude, that and candy will look insane.
Yeah, I'm hoping. Yeah, I'm hoping.
That's freaking gorgeous.
Yeah.
Nash Money, what's up? Thanks for tuning in. Nash says, little late, what's up? Charlie is the man.
What's up?
So now, what other projects are you working in as far as recessive wise?
So the acids are going to clown, hypo. So I have a leopard hypo pastel female that's going to. I'm putting acid to a candy het pied female. I wasn't gonna at first. I have 2 candy het pied females that I was gonna try to make candy pieds, but now that I can test for pied, I said screw it. I'll put the black pastel acid boy to that one because then I'll know which ones are the double hets.
That's true.
So I'm just trying to get it in everything. And then I have a GHI clown male that's going to a coral glow het clown female that I got from Justin, who as a baby was just the most ridiculous coral glow I've ever seen. So I'm interested to see how it is going to be getting GHI into that. I have a super black pastel, super vanilla that the GHI clown is going to.
Ooh, I bet you that's
yeah, I like I just want to get like dark genes into stuff. So, and then eventually lighten them up with some yellow belly or orange dream, something like that. Like I love black and orange, dark blacks, and bright oranges. So I want to try to go for something like that.
Dude, that'll be wicked, man. Like I love the dark stuff, but then like at the same token, I also love like like you said, like the bright oranges, the bright yellow stuff.
Yeah,
so
yeah, me too. You know, I do.
But my favorite thing's Xanthic. So if I can get like the best black and white, snake there is, that makes me the happiest.
Yeah, those Xanthic DGs are unbelievable. Like I would love that, but it's too much to get into that project right now. And I just got my first Desert Ghost today. Actually, I picked it up today from Reptile Creations. He lives in Long Island, and he has a house up by me. I'm in upstate New York, and so I met him today. It's a clown spider. It's a bumblebee clown het desert ghost female.
Ooh, okay.
It's a little less expensive way of getting into DG clowns just because it has spider in it. And I love spiders, even though I don't have that's the only one I have because it's hard to sell them. But I could have had.
But you know what, dude? In all honesty, I haven't had a problem selling any of my spider combos yet. Luckily, because I have a bumblebee clown as well, but there's no other hidden hets attached to him. But he carries this crazy line of pastel that out of like the 3 different pastel lines I have, you can line up a baby from each one of the 3 lines, and you can pick out which one's the crazy one. because it throws the wicked, like really super wicked patterns, and it's just out of this world bright compared to everything else.
I have an NG pastel double het G-stripe orange ghost, and nobody believes me that she's just an NG pastel because of how bright she is.
Oh, let's see it.
She's building right now. She's pretty big.
Oh, wow. That is nice. Yeah, I could see why people would think that there's something else there, but man, that is, I mean, that's as much as people say, hate on pastel, right there to me is exactly why you should have pastel.
Yeah.
That's a stunning looking adult.
Okay. But yeah, she's going to a cinnamon double het, so we'll see.
Okay. Phil says, Enchi everything. Red Moon says, dang. Forbidden Balls says, send your sheds to Charlie. Gang, gang. What's up, Forbidden Balls? Thanks for tuning in. Hit that subscribe button, everybody. If you are new to watching the channel, please do a live stream every Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern. And we always try to have some awesome guests. So I appreciate all the support.
Yeah, a lot of the people that are talking are all in Baker Blue Line Morph's Patreon.
Okay.
I'm a part of that. And when you join his Patreon, we have a deal that you get discounts on the sheds and everything. So the testing. So anybody joins Baker's Patreon, they have pretty much complete access to me and discounts on the shed testing.
Nice. There you go, everybody. Head on over to Baker and join up. Charlie has a Colt.
A Colt? A gun?
I think it's a Colt. I think that's a Colt following.
Colt 45?
Yep, Baker says, hell yeah. Ruben says, except me, I'm quietly getting splashed by.
She got bit like 3 times this week by her retic.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's not having a good week.
Well, I feel their pain because when I was trying to tame down my the carpet that's in the top cage, he took forever to tame down, dude. It took like 2 years.
Really?
And every handling, it was just, I think the most times I got bit was 10 times in one handling.
Oh.
And it like till you were done. I mean, you know how snake bites are. Like they're not terrible, but they just bleed like crazy.
And they just scare the crap out of you.
Well, yeah, like I think more that shock that you just got tagged.
Yeah.
And my wife came in and she like saw my hands and she goes, "What the hell is going on?" I was like, "Guys, it's just a couple bites. It's okay." She goes, "God, it looks like you're gonna bleed out." It's like, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah. But it definitely made me start to wear gloves to work with him. Now he's tamed down and now he's a puppy dog for the most part.
Yeah, I loved it. I saw jungle carpets at the last show in Albany by me, and this guy had them. They were amazing. I was like, oh, now that's something that could be a cool display animal. But everything I hear is they're nasty, So I don't know. I'm looking at
some art.
Yeah.
Now the one
my super dwarf, he is the nastiest bastard while he's in his enclosure. Once I get him out, he's absolutely fine. But otherwise, he wants to eat every single day. Anytime you walk by, he's at the front waiting to strike at anything that comes in. That's the one good thing is you don't have problems feeding them. Not like these idiots over here.
Dude, funny thing was, all right, I got the carpets. One, I always wanted a carpet. Two, I thought it's a good garbage disposal for, when the ball pythons don't eat.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the first 2 I got, they would only eat mice, apparently. Like, I learned, they would not take a rat at all. They would look at it and just turn their nose up at it. It took me so long, and finally we started scenting to get them to switch over to rats, and finally got it done. And now they're okay with rats. But it was like I achieved getting a dream animal, but at the same token, the one main purpose of them was completely screwed up. Yeah. It sucked. But now they are good garbage disposals for
I
me.
know. Now I breed rats, ASFs, and mice, and like right now they're breeding like crazy, but everything's like off food because it's breeding. So I have so many damn rats, and they're getting too big. Like I wish I had like a boa or something that I could feed the big ones to.
Dude, I've heard, it seems like that's a common issue, though. I've heard several people that are breeding rats say, that basically they need to find that one person that's got boas just so that way they can just basically give the rats away.
Yeah.
It's kind of, it's
I guess
hard to believe.
I just started like a year ago breeding them, but I guess like you could take males out during this time and not breed as much right now and scale it up when they're done, when they're back on food. But then that's the thing, unless you're like I have to heat that room, and they breed better when it's warmer. So I'm up here in upstate New York, it gets cold. I keep the room heated, but they definitely slow down breeding in the winter. When all my snakes want to eat, so we'll see. I got to just get the science down.
How many colonies are you working with for rats?
Rats, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have like 9 or 10 of the concrete Home Depot mixing tubs of them, and there's either like 1.3 or 2.4 in those, and then I have 2 colonies of ASFs, about to be a third, and I have 2 colonies of mice.
Okay.
I realized that last year when I was hatching the babies, and some of them weren't taking like small rats or anything like that, and that it was a pain in the ass to try to find little mice, and so now I was like, I want mice and ASFs at all time. Yeah.
Now, do you start when you go to like for your hatchlings, do you offer them frozen, thawed, or live rats first, and then you go to the mice, or do you just automatically start?
No, well, I try to start on rats. I've only had 2 clutches, and it was last year, and I tried starting them on rats, and some of them take them and they're fine. But then, like I had one boob egg that he was tiny, he was little, he wouldn't take anything. So I had to assist feed him for like 4 feedings, and then he still was so small. The only thing he could take down was like a little hopper mouse, like no rat, he would take down. But yeah, I mean, I started off when I started building the collection, ordering frozen thawed, but I just hated thawing them out. I hated when they wouldn't eat, wasting them. So nobody around me breeds rats, so I couldn't just go buy them. So unless I took a little ride, and I don't feel like doing that, and I have the space, so I just built what did I build? Like a 12 by 8 room, and I heat it, and I have a fan in there for the summer, exhaust fan, and it works out.
Now, you have AC as well for them, because I mean, in the summertime, I mean, it's got to get decently warm up there.
I have I insulated it, and I have like in the wall exhaust, so on a thermostat, so when it gets too hot, it starts sucking all that hot air out.
Okay. Yeah. See, that's ones that, like, I have a shed out back, and everybody tells me that I need to turn that into like a rat shed. And it's like, man, between like YouTube, the snakes, the family, it's like the last thing I need is to throw rats into that freaking mix.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a pain in the ass, but
how about, like, time wise, how much time do you spend on your rats a week?
Throwing food in is once or twice a week, filling up the food, but I only clean once a week on a weekend, and I finally got a pretty good system down now that it probably takes me like an hour and a half to do. It's not horrible, but that's so, like you said, that's why I'm hoping that just to completely eliminate rats and just have ASFs. 1, they don't smell as bad, and 2, they won't outgrow it. So I'm slowly just building up colonies of the ASFs. So
now, Do you know why? Because I've heard other people say that ASFs don't smell like, that they don't nearly smell nearly as bad as what regular rats do. Is there, like, do you know a reason why?
I don't. The only thing I could think of is one, they're not as big. Like some of these male rats are huge, and they take big shits. So and they pee a lot and they drink a lot. So I don't know if it's just, and the ASF's tubs are never as messy as the rats. They don't pee half as much. Like the caked up pee at the bottom of the rats is what I think stinks, and the ASF's just. But on the other hand, mice stink, and they're small. So I don't know. I don't know.
That's very true. I know that is like mice. I think smell the worst out of everything. Mice, I think, smell
the male mice that smell. That's what I've read online. Is that the male mice is the thing that the ones that stink.
Okay. See, I never would have guessed that was it was just one sided like that.
Yeah,
that's interesting. Mike here says if we could find rats at a decent price, they would definitely stop breeding rats. And see, like for me, on average, I think for a small, I'm spending like $1.80.
Now, are you feeding live or frozen?
Frozen thawed.
Right.
So yeah, so I mean, I like at the prices that I can get stuff at the moment anyway, it's the time, the time I save outweighs what I'm spending.
Yeah.
But then at the same token, I also think, well, if I was breeding rats, I could then supply other people, and that's just another form of income to help,
Yeah, I thought of doing that, but you gotta have a lot of rats to start supplying other people because
that's true.
It's I'm using them all. Right now I have some excess. So if anybody locally I know, sometimes they'll ask me and I'll like take care of them. But I like having the ability to just pick what size I want that day to feed my rats. I switch them up. Sometimes I'll get an ASF. Sometimes I get a mice. Sometimes I get a rat. I switch it up all the time. Sometimes I'll get a bigger one. Sometimes I'll get a small one. I don't have a set weight that I feed them all. And I just like to make it random. Try to keep them not getting stuck on a certain size or a certain, rodent. But so I don't know.
See, I do like your thought process on switching up what they're eating so they don't get stuck on that, because I've noticed, at least for some of mine that I've had, like they were on rats for a while and I would never switch it up. And now granted, for the most part, I do try to feed everything on rats, but I had a few that got off the rat train and I gave them a mouse and like they just got stuck on mice and it would not go back for mice.
Mm-hmm.
It was a freaking nightmare for me.
Yeah.
And it's like if I just would have switched it up a little bit, like what you're saying, maybe it would have avoided that whole situation.
Mm-hmm.
Baker says he spends like $1,000 a month on rats. Holy crap, dude!
Yeah, no, I don't want to do that.
But then Baker's bringing in like maybe $5,000 a month on time, to offset that. I don't know if that's it sounds good, Baker. I don't know if that's what you're bringing in from the snakes or not, but you got some killer stuff, bro. So you gotta be that $1,000 ain't hurting you. For Ben says, yeah, if I paid every week, I'd be at about $200. Okay.
Yeah.
See, now, do you feed every week or do you feed every other week?
It depends. Sometimes I'll feed every other week. Sometimes I'll feed every week. Like I don't keep any schedule whatsoever on them.
Okay.
I don't. But I do now. I use Husbandry Pro, so I scan everything. I was the worst for keeping any type of notes, any type of anything, and so I was like, screw it, let me try this, and I'm not turning back on that. I love it.
Because dude, like the time aspect that it saves you alone.
Yeah,
is freaking fantastic.
And even like when you're pairing a bunch of snakes, like a lot of people have it down. Like my schedule's all over the place with my day job and everything else I got going on. I can't say, all right, I'm going to pair everything on this day. I'm going to, do this. So I'm pairing like as I'm coming in and out. And so now I could look and be like, all right, that snake was at this millimeter follicles. And the last time they locked was this date. All right, let me get that again. Otherwise I don't want to pair too much. I don't want to pair too little. So that's what I use it all mostly for. And then I could look like, wait, did I feed that one last week? And I'll look, and did that one eat? Whatever. But
That I do like the reminder aspect of it as well, because you can set the pairing reminders even, and you can set the length of it, all that stuff. Have you used it as far as turning like your eggs, going from eggs and turning them into actual animals?
No, I'll do it this season, but I just started it a couple months ago. So
okay. You will love that aspect, dude. That is super freaking nice. Super, super nice. I enjoy every bit of it. Plus, now you have the store. I don't know what tier you're on, but you've got that store aspect now. There's Husbandry Pro is, I think that's going to be basically the next, I don't want to say the next morph market, but how everything's kind of going, I think it's going to be just as good as what morph market was. And then being able, like, everybody, if anybody doesn't know, like, if I buy a snake off Charlie and, he can send me all the information from the time he had that snake or produced that snake, he can send me all the records and I will know everything to a T about that animal. So it's definitely, I think it's the way of the future, in all honesty. I love it. I love it. Let's see, I think Baker's on the Husbandry Pro train as well, too.
Yeah, it's good.
So I freaking love it. All right, so what made you want to do genetic testing? Because I'm pretty sure everybody wants to hear about genetic testing.
Yeah.
Because you are, like, I think, to me, you're the guy to go to on this. I did one test through RGI, and between what I've been hearing through the grapevine and my personal experience with setting a test and them pulling the test down due to errors, and then me getting my results back a little bit after that, I've just kind of, like, I had lost faith.
What did you send them?
I sent them a test for asphalt.
Oh, yeah. I know they pulled down the Ultramel and the Albino because of the multiple lines of them.
Okay.
So that's like on my website, those are disclaimers on there. So if you're going to test for Ultramel, it comes out negative, there's still a chance that it could be another line of Ultramel. Although the test we have is the most common line from what I'm hearing.
Okay.
But I always tell people, if the other line comes out, or if I find it, or somebody else finds it, I keep all the sheds. I keep a whole, database of everything. So I'll test it for free. If you have a negative Ultramel test, and then I get the test comes out for the other lines, I'm going to go back there and test all those as well for free and let them know, whatever, just because I think that's the right thing to do for something like that. But yeah, so I saw Dr. Hannah Seidel on Samson Snakeatorium on Brian's show, I don't know, well over a year ago. And I'm always the type of person that when you see something, you want to know how it works. And like, that's how I got into the CNC stuff. Like I saw online a CNC laser. I'm like, man, how the hell does that work? And I started looking, and I have a computer science degree and I like engineering and things like that. So I built CNC laser, then I built a bigger one. Then I built a router, CNC plasma cutters, and I build everything myself. I don't like having anybody come to my house to fix anything that's broken. With YouTube, and you have all the knowledge you want at your fingertips for everything. And that's just how I am. I need to know how everything works, especially things that interest me. So I saw that show and I was like, I wonder, I'm like, there's no way this is possible that I'd ever be able to do this. That was the first thing I said. I'm like, it's going to cost way too much money for the equipment. There's no way that I'd be able to do this. So, but I still was like, I got to look at it. I got to check. And I started doing some research, and I found the equipment was expensive, but not that expensive.
Okay.
And then I just had to, before I spent the money on equipment, I messaged a few people. Dr. Hannah Seidel sent me an email. A couple other people that are in the industry I reached out to, and kind of then just watching YouTube videos about genetics and testing and PCR and gel electrophoresis and all that stuff. Just every single free moment I had was watching videos and reading about it. And then I bit the bullet and bought all the equipment. And then I knew I had to buy these primers, and you have to go find the website and you have to order primers, and they're custom made primers, and you have to do that and follow all their steps to dilute those primers. And I thought I was going to be able to just run that stuff on gel and pretty much compare it and say, okay, I have a known het clown here and a known not het, an unknown, and run them on the gel and see if the lines match up. Boom, there you go. It was not like that. It's way more difficult than that. And it wound up taking me a good 6 months of having the equipment and messing with it almost daily. I was getting it every time, and it was working. I saw first guys in Baker's page like, hey, sheds, you want to know what, mess around. So that's how in the beginning. Again.
You're breaking up a little bit there, Charlie.
Still good.
You're kind of froze.
Hold on.
Mike, what's up? Thanks for tuning in, bro.
Yes, Mike.
Ray, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in as well. Rob, what up, dude? Ray, your question that you tagged there, I will get to that here in a minute. Okay, all right, Charlie. Now you're good now. Yeah, you're good now.
I don't know what it is. I just checked the speed test on my phone, and it's crazy fast. So I don't know why it's doing that.
Dude, it's technology, man. If I hate technology, I know we need it, but God, technology freaking hates me.
Mm-hmm.
Two people have asked this already, so we're just gonna get this question out. We're gonna we'll circle back to the original question here.
Yep.
But two people want to know is if the DG test is out yet.
RGI has the DG test, not me. So I have not come up with tests on my own yet. I'm just using the tests that are publicly available that Dr. Hannah Seidel put out because she works for universities. So when she does these things with her classes, she has to publish them as papers. So they're open to anybody to read and look at. So in order to come up with a test, you have to locate where on the snake's genome the gene for whatever is located. And that takes a lot of work and money and time. So everything that she came up with that she released to the public, I could do. I'm hoping to get Clown up pretty soon. I've talked to a few people. I might be getting it soon. And I'm going to start working on my own with a couple other people to try to come up with another gene test on my own.
Oh, nice.
But RGI, obviously, they won't share their tests with me because, they spent the money and the time to get them. So they're not going to release them. They don't have to release them to the public like if a university is doing it. They're a private company, so they're not going to release any of the tests. So no. Yeah, I know people saying, do Moray or
Moray and
Monsoon. Problem is with that, is there enough of it out there for it to be worth it for me to spend the thousands and thousands of dollars and the time to do that? Am I going to make that back up? Am I going to make, especially with something where a lot of people won't test because they could see the markers. So first initially I was like, oh, I should do Monsoon, and then it's like, So then it's like, oh, maybe Sunset, maybe Puzzle, things like that.
Exantic.
Well, VPI Exantic is going to be coming out soon. So unfortunately, I know you don't do that. But
no, that won't help me out much.
Yeah.
But here's my question though: even though it's different lines, would it? I guess I'm assuming it would not test out the same way, though.
I don't think so, but I think it should be close and to find the others as it is completely new tech.
I'll say it one more time, Charlie. You went robot on me again.
Am I good now?
Do me a favor, back out once and come back in, and I'll put you back on. Let's see if that doesn't fix it. Maybe, who knows? Maybe this thing's on my end as well. Would not, wouldn't surprise me if it was on my end by some stupid reason. Because, like I said, technology hates me. Look at it. Oh wait. Oh, you can't see any of the carpets. Damn it. Actually, there you can see one. Right. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, you can see the one carpet there, and it's hide, but hoping you guys would be able to see it a little bit better. So everybody, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, please. Greatly appreciate all the support. Okay, Tommy says won't test the same way, but should be close. Okay, see, that's what I was wondering about. Just because, I mean, it's essentially the same gene, but they're not compatible. So, I mean, I wasn't sure how exactly that whole ordeal would work. Everybody, thank you so much for coming out and joining us. While we're waiting on Charlie to come back, next week I've got a PA breeder roundtable going on with a special guest and another guest, first time ever being on a live. So that's going to be a super, super awesome live stream to catch up with. And then after that, we've got Lindsay Wickenheiser of Pico Pythons joining us. And then on the 18th, I've got Jeremy Bald of Bald's Exotic Reptiles going to be joining us. It's going to be got a nice lineup. I am going to start booking, though, for the last week here in June. All right, Charlie, no problem, dude. Take your time. I have the 25th opened up, so I'm going to try to get a guest here for that yet, and then I'm going to be booking for July. So some of y'all are going to be getting hit up to come on here, and Baker, you are on the list as well, bro. I need to get you on here sooner than later, just because last time you're supposed to be on, it didn't work out. But yeah. So also, while we're waiting on Charlie, everybody, do me a favor and please remember why we celebrate Memorial Day. I think sometimes everybody gets caught up in the all the barbecues and hanging out and stuff, and they kind of forget the reason, why we even think about it, celebrate it. And, for me anyway, how I view it is we're basically, paying tribute to those that gave it all. So definitely, if you know a vet, thank a vet. Even first responders, to me, hey, you guys all deserve it as well. So, thank you everybody for doing what you do, laying your life on the line out there. I greatly appreciate it, as I'm sure almost everybody else in this chat does as well. But definitely, take a step back and think about it, because there's a lot of people that if the world wouldn't be what it is today if it wasn't for them sacrificing everything. So that's my I've got a lot of friends that are military. I've got a lot of friends that lost friends in the military. So I just want to thank you, everybody that has served and is thinking about serving, and those to be serving in the future. Just thank you, everybody. I greatly appreciate it. But yeah. So a little update here as well. Clutch number 4 is I'm still waiting on. We're like a week past due date. That's my double het to double het Exantic. My first shot of hitting Exantic clowns. It's double het to double het though. But it's actually a super special clutch just because the female and male were produced here in-house. So that's our first shot at having a female that we produced on eggs. Clutch 5 is due to drop today, and they're actually all just cruising their tubs, acting like idiots. So to me, that's a good sign. They're uncomfortable, possibly, is how I'm looking at it. So hopefully, hopefully they give us a nice clutch here soon. I know the one clutch should be 4 eggs. I don't even remember what the other clutch was. That's basically our bell clutch. But we got some nice stuff growing up as well. Carpet clutch will be due to hatch any freaking day, or not any day, in like 2 weeks. So if you guys are looking and wanting to get into a carpet python, go to my Husbandry Pro store. Link is in the description. Go to that and join the wait list on the carpet clutch. It's actually the only clutch in the incubator right now, but depending when you're watching this video, there might be other clutches in there. It's kind of been one clutch goes in, another, and then another clutch goes out as soon as one goes in. It's been a really neat year, very steady. Got some awesome stuff coming here in the future. And also, this is where the genetic testing comes into play. I've produced my first visual exam tips for the season, but I need this guy to come up, I need this guy to come up with the cloud testing for me.
All right, so my internet is down in my house. My wife just texted me from the house and was like, our internet's down. I said, okay.
Oh, that would explain it then, because, I mean, now it's...
This is on my phone, so...
I say, you're running smooth and freaking clear now, dude. Can you flip your phone now? Yeah, like that. That's perfect.
Is that good?
Yep, perfect, dude. Perfect.
Cool.
Mitzi, I can hook you up, girl. Hopefully we hit a bell. I mean, last season we hit one bell. I'd like to see more than one bell, but at the same token, I'd love to see some GHI Mojave stuff pop out of that clutch. I know last year we had a GHI lesser that was freaking awesome. It was hard to get rid of her, but
can I not do full screen?
What's that, Charlie?
I'm trying to do full screen on my phone because I can't really see anything, but it doesn't matter. Oh, hold on. I think internet's back up. All right, yeah, we could just go and I'll see if internet comes back on my computer.
All right, yeah, no problem, dude. So, back onto the whole what made you get into it. So,
right.
You wanted to figure out how it worked and all that stuff. Was there anything was it that the main focus, or did you have plans to turn it into like I'm gonna say a side business or a side hustle? Hustle doesn't sound right, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, at first I didn't. At first I was like, I just want to see how this works and see if I could figure it out. And then when I'm doing it, and because this was all before RGI even came out, I knew they were working on it and I knew they were in the works, but before they actually came out and paired with Morph Market and all that, I owned the equipment and I was doing all this. And so like I said, I was just doing it for people I knew, because I wanted to make sure when I did it, it worked every single time before I offered it out to anybody else. And I didn't know if I did offer it out, if I was going to get bombarded with sheds or not, or what. And so I wanted to make sure I had a process down, everything working properly before I ever announced that I could do it.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, there was a couple months where I was just doing doing people's sheds, but not announcing it.
See, I think right there, what you had just said, that you didn't want to get bombarded right away and then be kind of like shock and awe, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that's exactly what happened with RGI, because when they dropped that they were doing what they were doing, I think they got that bombarded that people were waiting for a long time to get the results. So I think that's freaking awesome that you were actually thinking that out and wanted to make sure you weren't going to be giving those long ass wait times and being overloaded and all that stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not really. Sometimes I'm busy, sometimes I'm not. Like right now, tomorrow I have a bunch that I have to do, but like some weeks are really busy and I'm doing it every day. Some weeks I do it one day a week. It all depends. And then people place orders, but then you have to wait for sheds. So, a lot of people placed orders already, but they're still waiting for the snake to shed. So,
yeah.
I don't know. Well, I mean, we'll see. If it gets busy, then I'm going to have to just upgrade a couple pieces of equipment so I could do more at one time and make it go a little quicker. But in the meantime, what I have now is working great. And, it's going good. You know, it's just once in a while there'll be times where I'm not 100% sure based on the results if it's correct or if I could tell if it's het or not. So I redo it. Like, I'm not going to tell you I think it's het or I don't think it's het. It's either yes or no. So if I have to rerun it, because there's a lot of variables, like you're manually, like high-end labs, everything's computerized. You know, nobody's putting solution in anything. Everything's computerized. But, you know, when you're doing it at a small scale, you know, you got to get the right amount in every single tube. You have to make sure everything goes right. The temperatures are all right. Everything is perfect every time. And sometimes even some sheds, I have no idea why, but out of the probably 1,000 sheds that I've done, there's been probably 3 that I could not for the life of me extract DNA out of.
Oh, okay.
And I was talking to Dr. Seidel about it, and she said, same with me. She's like, there's been times where that made me feel better that it wasn't something I was doing. She's like, no, same with me. I don't know how to explain it, but there's something that happens in some snakes or with some sheds or how somebody's handling it or whatever that makes it not extract DNA properly. I don't know. But at that point, I'll just say, hey, listen, give me a mouth swab or, you know, wait for the next shed and send it again. And I'll try it a couple times before I tell them I can't do it.
Okay.
But
now, do you prefer, because I think RGI wants you to send just like it's not like a piece of the shed that's like a quarter size. Do you prefer it to be a small piece like that, or do you want the whole shed so that way?
I don't need the whole shed. I like more than that just because you don't know. I like to pick from where I want to pick on that shed. You only need a little bit to go into the tube, but a lot of sheds come absolutely filthy. Curled up and in a ball, even though, you know, you say spread them out to dry so they're nice and flat, you know, try to get them out as soon as you can. But, you know, you get some that are crumpled up with shit and piss still in them, you know, so you want to make sure you're picking from the right spots to get the best results you can. I just don't always trust that the people are going to give me the best spot. And then the more they're touching it, the more they're handling it to cut a piece off. I mean, I said, like some people, since I don't have clown, people like, hey, I want to test pied and clown. I want to use you, but you can't do clown. All right, give me half the shed, send the other half to RGI. You know, you know, you don't technically need a lot. I've done sheds that are months and months old, and they work. You know, they work fine.
Oh wow!
It just, you know, it really just depends, I think, on how they're stored and how they're dried and how. But even then, if it comes dirty, I could clean it up. But usually I could find, if somebody sends me a whole shed, I could find good enough spots to take from. So,
okay.
But I mean, it's, unless you're doing something with the shed, I don't see a reason why not just send the whole shed.
Okay. Eric here from Drop Time wants to know, how long does a test take start to finish?
Good question. So for right now, the only test that you could do without shipping it to a lab to get sequenced is hypo and lavender albino. Everything else, you have to extract DNA, run it in a PCR, and send it to a lab for sequencing with a certain primer, and then they send you back the results, and then you analyze the results, and you know whether it's het or not.
Okay.
But so for, say, hypo, if I'm just doing one test and I'm testing somebody's hypo shed, it takes probably a half hour or so to prep and to get it all, you know, the shed in there and to mix all the reagents properly. You have to thaw everything out because all the reagents have to stay at a certain temperature, pretty cold. So you thaw everything out, and then, you know, I now have a better process down where, you know, I know exactly when to take certain things out of the freezer, when to do this. While this is running, I can prep for the next step, you know, because I've done it so many times now that I have it down. So then the PCR takes 2 hours. So extracting DNA, you have to incubate it for about 15 minutes. Okay. And then 2 hours in PCR. and then about a half hour, 40 minutes, you run it on gel. Even if you have to send it out for sequencing, you still have to run it on a gel to make sure you extracted DNA properly and that there's no contamination in it.
Okay.
So every time, it's a few hours to run it, to do a test, at least 3, if not 4.
Okay.
But, you know, a half hour to an hour of that, I don't have to be around. You know, I could be doing something else or prepping for the next round of tests, you know, because the 2-hour mark, but halfway through the 2-hour mark, I have to go up and now mix everything to make my gel, because you have to make a new gel every time you do it.
Okay.
It's definitely not just cut and dry. You know, there's a lot to it, but anybody
sure
technically can do it, because I am doing it and I'm doing it in my house. So, but RGI sends their stuff out for sequencing. So it's not like they're sequencing their stuff in-house. Because those machines cost a lot of money, and these labs do it for a living, you know, so they're doing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds at a time. So it costs you less money to get it sequenced than if you're just doing, you know, 10 at a time at home.
Okay.
So and that's why RGI, like I've seen him on YouTube say, at first I thought he might do his in-house, but the reason why sometimes it takes long, because he waits to fill up a certain amount of spots before he ships it out. So usually like a tray is of 96 and you'll send that out. So that way you could get a discount on the cost of the sequencing. So if he doesn't have 96 to ship out, he's waiting, you know, and I get it. It makes sense, but this isn't my only job. This isn't my job. I don't depend on this money for anything. So I want to just help people out and try to get it as fast as I can. So if I only have one to send out, I'm just going to send one out. You know, it cost me $10 to ship it, and it cost me over $10 to get it sequenced. So after that, and after everything else, I'm not really making a lot of money if I'm sending one out. But I don't care. I'd rather somebody be like, oh, good, I figured I know today instead of 2 weeks from now until Charlie gets more in. You know?
Yeah. I know that was one thing that kind of aggravated me, because Red Moon here says that because they were waiting 7 months for whatever test they had being done. But like it took forever for my asphalt test to get, go through, and then they pulled it right, like I was telling you, they pulled it right before I got my results. And it's like, man, I don't know if I can believe what I've got result wise now, because it's just due for accuracy reasons that they pulled it. Because I think they pulled that and Ultramel all at the same shot, if I remember correctly.
Anyway, I don't know why they pulled the asphalt. The asphalt test is in gravel. That's been 100% accurate so far. So I don't know why they pulled that, unless something on there. They're doing it different than I am, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I know it now it doesn't matter, because the male I was having tested, I mean, I have him up for sale now, because I went out and got his brother from the guy that I got there from Nathan at Infinite Possible Pythons. Got his brother, which is a Mardi Gras. So now I know I've got asphalt. So now there's no question. But yeah, the weights, that wait time, man, that sucked. And then when I was like, you said, like, they put out an email explaining to everybody that, they wait till they get like 100 tests or whatever sometimes to send out. And I'm there thinking, it's like, well, if they send it out at 100 and you're like 105, you're waiting who knows how long. Like that's like, that really sucks.
Yeah. And he said on his, like, I get it. And that's the thing. That's a business, and they have to do what they got to do to lower costs. I'm sure I'm the only person here. I'm not paying anybody. I don't have a fancy website. I don't have, so they have a lot more expenses than I do. So, I mean, I get it. That's why I'm not going to complain about them for anything, because I don't know what they have going on there. I just know what I'm doing here, and it seems to be working out really well. And a lot of people keep coming back, and it's great. And And I talk to everybody. I don't think I've tested a single shed that I haven't had a full-blown conversation with somebody on Instagram. You know, you can't get a hold of RGI. You can't talk to them, and I understand why. They're a bigger company. You know, they're busy, but it's just some people don't want to use me because I'm not a big company, and I completely understand that. You know, do what you want to do. You know, if you like certain things, you do that. If you want to work with me, fine. You know, I don't care. I'm doing this.
I'm gonna be supporting you, bro. That's why I keep hounding you about the cloud test.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah. It's coming. It's coming. I'm gonna have it soon.
We got
one way or another.
Xanthic test there too. We got to figure. If you need to test out Xanthic stuff, you let me know. I'll send you all the Xanthic sheds you want.
All right.
Because I would be curious on that one to see how close the different lines come across and all that stuff.
And another little update on the testing is that, so like I said, hypo and lavender are the only ones anybody could do without sequencing. But Dr. Seidel is having one of her students for their, doctorate thesis or whatever, create pied and I think yellow belly to be tested right on a gel. So like sometimes I'll get somebody sends me a hypo or a lab test. I'll come home from work at 4:00 and I'll get it out of the mail and they'll have the results at 8:00 that night.
Oh, wow.
Because and they're like, wait, how do you get, because I could do that right here. And if I get your hypo or lavender thing, even though it's not cost effective for me to do one at a time, even when running it on a gel, because none of that stuff is cheap. It's not free, all those reagents that you have to use. They're not cheap. But I'll still do it because I think that's awesome. Like, imagine sending your shed out to somebody and they say, hey, I got your shed today. And then 3 hours, 4 hours later, hey, it's head hypo. I think that just gives somebody an awesome feeling. And that's why I do it, and then I make up certificates, and shout out to Kai from Lucas Landon. He's like, hey, can you put a picture of my snake on the certificate so that, it's a little more, evidence for people, like when I'm trying to sell it. And I said, it's a great idea. So he said, anytime I test for him and anything that tests positive, he sends me pictures of them and I put them on and I send him the certificate. Right now I'm working on a database that will be on my website that for eternity, you'll be able to go on, type in your order number and see all your test results and everything there. Just so it's always there. If anybody has any question and you're selling an animal, you could pull it up. And if you sold an animal and somebody later on wants to check it, make sure they can check it. And I'll have the visual proof. I like to have the visual proof of every test that I do. So if it's the gel, I take a picture of the gel and I explain the reason why it is het is because there's these two lines in these positions. The reason why it's not is because it does not have these two lines. It has this one line. And then if it's sequenced, then it's a graph. The reason why it is het candy is because these two lines here are together in this location. The reason why it's not is because it only has this one line, and this one line is only the wild type gene. Okay. And that's what, just so that it's not just like yes or no. I don't know. I feel like maybe it's just me, the person that needs to know how everything works and why things are what they are. But I feel like that's a little better for somebody when they get that PDF and it's like, oh, it's not het. Maybe he screwed up. Maybe it is. No, look, this is the evidence that it's not het. This is why it's not het. I feel like it eases people's minds a little bit more.
It would. And that is a great way to go about doing it too. Like,
it is a shitload more work to do. I do that at night after everybody goes to bed. I'm on my computer. Usually I'm doing that at 11, 12 o'clock at night, making up these PDFs for everybody. And, but I think that's important.
Dude, it shows you care, which is a huge thing. Like, you're showing people that they're not just like, all right, how much does it cost? Like someone that's not in Baker's Patreon,
$50.
All right, so you're showing people that they're just not $50 to you,
right?
Like you actually genuinely care about that person and making sure that they're happy. They've got everything that they need. That means a lot. Like that.
And then once people come to me multiple times and multiple snakes, it's never $50. I take care of everybody. You know, I can only charge so little, or else I'll just be losing money. But you know, I try my hardest to, especially if somebody has a clutch of 8-10 snakes and they want to test them all for something. I'm not going to charge you $50 a test if you're sending me 10 sheds. Like, I know I'm not hurting for money or anything, but I don't think I would spend $500 to test, you know, especially, well, $650, you know, because RGI is $65.
Yeah.
And they even say on their site, you don't get discounts until you have at least over 100 sheds tested. And again, I get that they have costs. You know, I don't have as much overhead as they do, so I could afford to do it. I didn't quit my job to do this. I make a great living on my day job and my side business. This is just a hobby side business for me.
Yeah. Now, with the gel stuff, does that have like a shelf life or expire?
Yeah.
Or okay.
The gel itself, you're saying?
Yeah, like the gel itself.
Yeah, so you have to make that gel the day of. You know, I have to use it. So you have to. It's literally like Jello. So you use an agarose gel, and you mix it with some other buffers, and you microwave it, and then you put it in a tray, and in about 10, 15, 20 minutes, it cools off, and then it's like a hard Jello, and that's where you put the PCR product in at the end. And you only use that once. So if I do that, you know, the next day I'm making another one.
Okay.
You know.
1 second here, Charlie. TJ, give me 1 second here. I can't do the smurfing thing through the computer. I'll do it through my phone here. Just 1 second. Hopefully it doesn't play a loud ass freaking thing. Although I might have to do it through the computer just because 1 second, Charlie. I apologize.
Yeah, go ahead now.
I should have just left my YouTube screen up. There we go. 1 second. TJ here. Let me see. There we go. All right. Now there you go, TJ. Now you're smurfed. I try to keep people smurfed, but I always forget to go back and smurf people. Just because it's normal till the lives are done, folks. It's late and my mind is not thinking about that at all. Blue Zombie wants to know, is there certain genes you can't test for?
Are there certain genes I can't test for?
Yes.
Yes, there are most of them. And most of them can't be tested. The only genes that right now that can be tested by anyone testing is what I have, and besides what I have, RGI has Clown and Desert Ghost. So other than, you know, Candy, Albino, Ultramel, Asphalt, Gravel, Yellow Belly, Spectre, Pied, Lavender Albino, Hypo, that's the only things that can be tested. You know, okay. Anything else, nothing. It takes a lot of work, a lot of time, and a decent amount of money to come up with a test for another gene. And you could even see it in RGI. He's a doctor, and he's been working on Desert Ghost test for over a year, and there's issues with it. It's not just straightforward. Like, it's hard to figure out. There's a lot of variables in DNA and in genetics that cause certain gene expressions. You know, so Desert Ghost happens to be a difficult one. It's not as cut and dry as Piebald is. So as he's doing more, as I'm doing more, as other people are doing more research, we'll see. Hopefully more are easy than they aren't. So hopefully there's not a lot of them are like Desert Ghost, you know.
Well, I know that from how I was actually talking about this today with some people. So with the DG test, if it comes back negative, it's 100% negative. There's no doubt about that.
Right.
But if it comes back positive, it's like 80 or 85% true.
Right. So I guess it could still be negative if it comes back positive. So that's why they're calling it the elimination test. So they could tell you that it's definitely not, but they can't tell you that it definitely is.
Man, that would make choking down at $65 a little bit harder.
I agree. I was surprised that they're charging that for that, but and he said it's 85% accurate. So, you know, I guess it's a roll of the dice, and you hope that it comes back but when it comes back that it is, it still might not be.
Yeah, exactly. And then if they're selling something, or like if you're testing something that you're selling,
right?
And yeah,
I guess it could be good for holdbacks or not. So if you have a few things and you're like, all right, you know, let me test all of these, you know, from this clutch, and the ones that come back negative, you know, you could sell those.
Yeah.
You know, you're not going to hold them back. But
that's true.
Thanks, Brandon, if you're still watching.
Eric here wants to know what tests are currently available with you.
All right. So, hypo, piebald, albino, candy, gravel, asphalt, yellow belly, spectre, lavender albino. I think I covered them all. It's if you go to grayriderreptiles.com, it links you to my Squarespace site where you can order tests on, and it lists everything up there. So grayriderreptiles.com, that'll list everything I have. The only thing I can do that's not up there yet is yellow belly. But if you have yellow belly, just reach out to me on Instagram or something, and I'll get taken care of for you.
See, and all of his links, folks, are in the description down below. So definitely go ahead, click those links, hit Charlie up for your testing. Pumpkin Exotics here, Angelina wants to know, how do you know if a female ball python is tail tucking?
Tail sucking, you mean?
That's Angelina. Is that what you mean? Tail suck? I never heard tail tucking. But tail suck. I mean, that if you look at the tail, I mean, it looks like the tail's getting like the belly scales are kind of split right down the middle, almost is how it looks.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're talking about with tail suck. Let me see here, because TJ's asking her if you mean like to lay or tail sucking to ovulate. It looks like she. Oh, well, like okay, when she's ready to lay eggs. Basically, I mean, if like the ovulation thing is, like I said, you know, the belly scales kind of really get sucked in. They kind of create like a V, so to speak. But for when they're ready to lay,
usually the tail will be curved at the end, and it almost looks like they're about to take a big crap.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I believe that's before an ovulation that happens.
Wait, what's that, Charlie? Sorry.
I believe the tail suck and all that is before an ovulation, not before they're going to lay.
Correct. Yes. Tail sucks like with the ovulation stuff. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Kike, thanks for posting that link, bro. Appreciate it. Brandon says, if testing something you're selling, if it comes back, now you know they can be sold and not be had. Yeah, that's true. Let me see here. There's so many messages. Thank you, everybody, for keeping the chat going like crazy. I'm trying to make sure I don't miss any questions. Jim says he's getting ready to load up another truck. I think that catches us all up on questions. Everybody, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them. I'll try to catch them. So you're saying anybody can basically do this testing thing. You don't need to be a wizard to be able to do it, correct? So to speak, a wizard.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you have patience and you could follow instructions and not worry, you're gonna screw up in the beginning. Even if I'm gonna help other people do it that have reached out to me, and like I have no problem doing that. Like if you want to do it, great. Like more people doing it, awesome. But the way I did it was, I don't know if this is true or not, but from what I know, I'm the only non-doctor that started doing this on their own already without somebody physically training me and showing me step by step how to do it. So that's why there's a lot of errors. There's a lot of screw ups, but you learn from all those errors and all those screw ups. So now when something goes wrong, I'm like, all right, that happened before. I know why this didn't work out this way. I have to just make this adjustment, or I have to pay a little closer attention to this because I made those mistakes already. I could sit someone down in my house with my equipment and tell them step by step, do this, do that, do this, do that, and they'll do it and they'll test it and it'll work. And they could follow steps. But it's always not the same when you're following step by step. Things come up. There's variables. So like, especially when you're doing it on like more than just testing your own once a month. When you're doing them testing every couple days, things are going to get confusing and screwed up, and you're going to have to redo things. And last week, 2 weeks ago, I got a lot of sheds in, and I was doing them all, and I was going to send them all out one day, and I could only do 8 at a time with my thermocycler. So I had them all, and I labeled them all, and some of the labels got smudged off. But I was 99% sure I knew which ones were which. But I could not risk sending them out for sequencing and then telling somebody your snake is het or is not het, not being 100%. So I had to tell everybody, hey, listen, I'm sorry. I know I told you you're going to have your results by the end of the week, but you got to give me another week. I got to redo it all because I don't want to, give you the wrong information. And everybody was cool with it. Who wouldn't be? You don't want to, you want the guy doing it to be 100% sure. So
exactly.
So I try to get it done as quick as I can, but no matter what, if I don't like how it looks, I'm going to do it again until I get it to be perfect. And then those are the things that you learn. Like, all right, now I know I have to make sure I made up all new spreadsheets. I made up all new labeling procedures, all new everything. So I don't have to redo that and waste all that time and money again, redoing a whole batch. It's just little things you learn when you're doing it for other people. Like I said, you're doing it for yourself or a few of your own snakes, a couple of your buddies, whatever. It's not a big deal. But, when you're out there and people are paying you, you want to make sure you're getting everything right every time.
Exactly. And plus, because if you screw up and you let it slide and think, oh, well, it'll be fine, it won't catch up. That's going to be the one thing that does come back, bite you in the ass. And then you're done. You're done. You're captaining the sunken ship already then.
Yeah.
So like that just means to me, like you stand behind your brand. That means a lot to me as a future customer and for everybody else. I mean, if you're not pleased with the results of it, that's awesome that you're like, hey, you're going to have to wait a little bit, but you're going to be happy with,
right,
knowing it's 100% what I'm telling you, if it's yay or nay.
Even on like one pied test I had done last week, it came back, and so it's called a chromatograph. So when I get things back from sequencing, there are these lines that are the nucleotides, and for it to be het, you're going to see 2 nucleotides in the same position, and usually they're overlapping each other, and it looks like pretty much one line with 2 different colors there. This was like about halfway up, and it wasn't all the way up. So I would have been 95% sure that this thing was het pied.
Okay.
And I told the person, I said, listen, I'm 95% sure that this is het pied, but I'm running it again. I'm sending it out again. And I did it again next time, and it came back, and the lines were perfect, and it was het pied. And I'm not going to charge that person what it costs for me to ship it and do it, because that's not their fault. They're paying just to get a result. But again, I want to make sure that that person doesn't come back to me next time he breeds that snake next year and is like, dude, you told me this was het pied. It's not.
Yep.
You know, I bred it to another pied. I got no visuals. You know, that's my worst fears. You don't want that to happen.
I say, dude, that would if you went and said, hey, if you wouldn't have went through that extra step, that would have been the one time,
right?
It would have come back and bit you in the ass.
No, I'm not taking that chance. If I lose money on the test, then I do. It's fine, but I'm not taking the chance of screwing it up.
Now here, this is one thing I know a few people in my group of people I hang out with that are breeders. We were all kind of wondering, as far as the sheds go, can you use that very first shed, like the out of the egg shed? Is that usable for the genetic testing? Or
I'm pretty sure it is, as long as you have them separated before they shed.
Okay.
For two reasons. One, you don't know which one shed it is.
Exactly. Yeah.
And two, usually it's very wet in there.
Yeah.
They're all over each other in a pile. You know, so it could be contamination. It might be difficult.
Okay.
But technically, you're extracting the DNA from inside the cells. So the least contamination you could have, the better. So my suggestion would be, if you have a clutch that you're planning on getting tested and you don't want to wait till that second shed, once they're out of the egg, separate them after a couple days and let them be by themselves. So, and then when that shed comes out, stretch it out, hang it up, use a clip or whatever and hang it, or lay it flat out somewhere and let it dry, because those are going to be soaking wet from the babies. Yep. You know, you don't want to send a wet shed because that's how bacteria will grow on it, and it can screw up the test. Worthless. Yeah.
See, that was one, like, with that Exantic clutch I had that's 50% had clown, I was really tempted to separate them out right away, because I never thought about the contamination aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
But then it also got me thinking, it's like, well, is there maybe like an issue with that first shed that you possibly wouldn't get the best results out of it or whatever? Then I even got to thinking even more beyond that. I was like, well, you're still working on getting that developed. It's like, I got time. I'll just wait for their second shed and bag it up, and we'll just put it on the back burner until you're good to rock and roll.
Yeah, I don't see there being a problem with the first shed, because, you know, their DNA is getting, while they're still in the egg, that's all getting created and being formed. It's there. Their DNA is there. And that's their skin that is shedding off. So that should have perfectly fine DNA inside of its cells. Could I be wrong? And there is absolutely not. Yeah, sure, I guess, but I haven't done it yet. At least I don't know if anybody's sent me. They haven't said they sent me one. I've done a lot of small sheds, so it could have been, but I don't think I've done a first shed yet.
I would almost, because you know how everybody always says that first shed's like so super thick?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if maybe it wouldn't be easier. Could it by chance be easier to extract the DNA out of it since it is a little bit thicker?
DNA extraction is not that difficult. Like I said, out of probably over 1,000 extractions I've done, 3 I've had problems getting DNA out of. So you're well over 99% success rate. You know, DNA is very hardy, let's say. You know, think about a crime scene. You know, they could get DNA out of a skin cell that falls off of you when you're walking through a room. Touch DNA. If you go and open your car door and I come swab it right after you do that, I could get your DNA from that. You know, DNA is pretty hardy. So there's just, for some reason, every once in a while, there'll be a shed that does not want to cooperate.
it's that one problem.
Mm-hmm.
Will here says, "God, I love living in the country. Had two random high school ask if we could give them a ride." Ay, ay, ay. Well, you should go give them a ride with their kayaks. Come on, man. So how accurate is the genetic testing? Like when it comes through, is it 100%? There's no chance in it being wrong, or is there still like a? I'm gonna say, is it like a 99.9%
So,
accurate?
so for the amount of tests that have been done, and especially all the tests that Dr. Seidel did when she was coming up with these, the only two that I can't tell you are 100% accurate right now is ultramel and albino, because they've come up with other lines of them that, not necessarily other lines, but another part of the DNA strand that is affecting that gene. So they look the same, but their DNA is slightly different somewhere, and that's what's causing it. So if for those two, I would say no, they are not 100%. For everything else, there hasn't been any cases of, as long as you do it right. And like if you look at my Instagram, I post pictures and I show what it is. You know, if this gene, if you identified the gene properly during the initial research, there is no way that that gene could be present and it not be het. And as long as you're doing your test right, and that's why I like to show the evidence every time that proves that I'm doing a test right every time. It shows the line there, or it shows the two lines together on a chromatograph. It can't not, it has to be.
Okay.
You know, it's, you know, the only way it wouldn't be is if there's another line of something somewhere. And as we know right now, the only two that are like that we're testing for is albino and ultramel.
Okay.
Everything else has come back 100%.
Okay. See, that's one and maybe I wonder if the Xanthic thing wouldn't be the same way with that too. Be curious to find that out.
But they're not compatible, right? None of the Xanthics.
Yeah,
so they could be in completely different spots, which they probably are. If they're not compatible, then they're going to be in different locations on the genome. But from what my research has shown is that a lot of times they might be in a close area, proximity of each other on the genome. So it might be easier and less expensive to find out where, because it costs thousands of dollars to do next generation sequencing for the whole genome of a ball python. And you have to do that multiple times in order to figure out where the gene is located on the genome.
Oh, okay.
So if I could say, hey, all right, we know that VPI Xanthic is here. Let me take X amount of nucleotides left, X amount right, and ask them just to sequence for that. Because that's what I'm doing now, is I'm sending them my PCR product, and I'm telling them, sequence this with this primer, meaning only look at this small section of the DNA. That's why it's not $1,000 every time I send something to get sequenced. But when they have to do a whole genome, it takes a long time and it's very expensive.
Okay. Ozak, what's up? Good to see you in the chat. It's been a while since you've been in. Good to see you, Ozak. What equipment do you need to do all of this? Like, because obviously, I mean, it's like you said, it's expensive stuff. It's not somewhere where I'm sure you just can't walk into.
No, but you could, like, I use mostly mini PCR products, and so you need a thermocycler, and that is a piece of equipment that you hook up to your computer, and it heats up and cools down the DNA, and that process multiplies the DNA to make billions and billions of copies of the DNA that you have in there. So you need a thermocycler. They're anywhere between probably $750, $800 to a couple $1,000s for one of them. And then you need a gel electrophoresis machine, which those are probably cheaper. I don't recall, but I believe you could buy a whole kit on Mini PCR with everything you need for around $2,000.
Okay.
But then you have to buy a lot of tubes, a lot of pipette tips, and then the reagents. The reagents cost, especially when you're learning and you're going through them and then you're contaminating them and you're spending a decent amount of money on the reagents, on the primers. Because if you do it the first time and you do everything right, then you could technically buy all the reagents you need for maybe another $100, but that ain't happening. You're gonna need a lot of them.
Okay.
Because and you don't want them to sit even in the freezer. They still have a shelf life, so I'm constantly ordering new ones, and then you're paying for shipping, which isn't cheap because it has to be like overnighted because they can't just be sitting in a hot airport for 2 days. So it's not cheap to learn, at least. But once you get it going, right, you figure it out.
So you've definitely, I mean, yeah, it's, well, I look at it, it's, are you familiar with, what is it, hydro dipping, I think it was called?
Yep.
I used to try to do that, and I mean, not nearly as expensive as this, but it wasn't cheap to learn to freaking do it. I still never mastered it. I eventually said, the hell with this shit.
Yeah, I tried to do it too. I used to have a Corvette that I was trying to hydro dip all the engine plastics. And
what year Corvette?
What's that?
What year Corvette?
It was an 02 Z06. But it was the least stock car I've ever had in my life, and it was really fast and it was really useless and it cost a fortune to build. And I could never drive it because I had to use slicks. Like, it was so much. It was 800-900 horsepower at the wheels. It was stupid.
Oh wow. And
so then once I moved upstate, like out to my house now, I was like, I gotta get rid of this thing. This is just useless.
Adam, what's up, bro? Thanks for tuning in, man. Greatly appreciate seeing you in the chat tonight. No, when you said about the vet, man, I had, all right, up until, I'm going to say 10 years ago, I always had a muscle car or a sports car. I had a 97 Camaro RS. That got totaled. Somebody hit me in that. I had an 01 SS. Drunk driver hit me head on a one-way street. That totaled that car. And then I ended up getting an 01 Trans Am WS6. That thing made it to me owning the pink slip and I legit actually owned the whole car. Finally got the whole thing paid off. But dude, I should send you pictures of it.
Definitely.
Like the exterior stuff underneath the freaking hood, dude. Like everything was polished stainless, polished aluminum. I had polished stainless steel mirrors, stainless steel mirrors there for like shows and stuff. Like cammed up. This thing was loud as hell. I actually had my buddy drive it from my house. I just told him, I was like, just go down this road and I'll call you when I can't hear the car anymore. And he kept going. And I finally called him. I was like, all right, how far out are you? He goes, a mile. I was like, no freaking way, man.
Yeah, mine was supercharged. I built the engine. It was a stroker motor, all forged internals. I put a lift in one of my garage bays in my house that was just the Corvette was on that. And that was an expensive hobby too. I miss it. When my son gets older, maybe I'll get another stupid toy car like that. But
dude, oh man, when I got rid of that car, my son, I can't think of how old he was, but he legit like cried over me getting rid of this car. It was hard enough for me to get rid of it, and then see him like breaking down and crying over it. I was like, good grief, dude. It's like, man. But like it got to the point where like the thing just sat I was lucky if I put 1,000 miles on it a year. Like basically the only time the car got uncovered and went out was to go get ice cream. That was it. It was basically, like you said, it was worthless to the point where it just sat there. It's like, man, someone else can enjoy this car a lot more than what I will.
Yeah. And Forbidden Balls said he's a GM guy, but give him an 87 and 92 Fox body. I built an 89 Fox body probably 10 years ago. That was my first like car that I always wanted growing up, that all the older kids in the neighborhood had. And I was like, one day I'm going to get one of them. And I built it up with this other mechanic when I first started learning how to mess with cars. And I made it as fast as I could stock. And the thing is they're dogs, man, compared to the cars now. It was the most uncomfortable ride in the world. Like every bump you felt, like you really have to spend money to get those things running fast, because those old engines, they're not like they are now.
Oh my God, no, dude.
But in 1989, that was a ridiculously fast car.
Yeah. Well, that's like, it's amazing. Think about it, everybody. I apologize for all the Motorhead talk. It's been years since I actually talked like engines and shit. But no, like the only thing I had to say that because my dad had a 67 Chevelle Super Sport when I was growing up. Nice. I miss the days when like you could actually work on the engine. Right. Now everything's so freaking computerized. Like I can't even imagine trying to do anything now with like these modern.
Yeah, so I had HP tuners. It's for my Corvette. So it's so that when you're making any changes, you could adjust all the settings in the computer. Okay. And when you're tuning it and when you're getting it dynoed, and so I bought that just so that I could mess with it at home. And yeah, there's so much stuff you could do. It's ridiculous.
I know the guy that helped me do my work for like the cam and air intake and all that stuff. He had some tuning software, but like I never, all that numbers, computer stuff. I left him freaking deal with it. Mm-hmm. We actually had issues because of the intake I went with, because I went with a polished, I think it's polished aluminum intake manifold, and we couldn't quite get the tune correct on it for like a cold startup. Mm-hmm. You would have to sit there and babysit it when it was starting up from cold. But right. Once it warmed up, then it was fine. But you had to sit there with it for like a good minute or two until it got everything warmed up a little bit before you could let it sit there and just idle by itself. It's kind of a pain in the ass, but man, I miss that freaking car. I do. Yeah. And now apparently, because I was talking to the GM dealer, I guess this 2024 is the last year of the Camaro. They're canceling the Camaro again.
Really?
I also found out that you can't order a Corvette in stick shift anymore. Apparently, people don't know how to drive stick anymore. But the Camaro you can order the Camaro in stick. Yep. But now they're getting rid of that, so that doesn't matter. And then apparently everything's going to all electric here soon. So it's like, well, what the hell's the car guy's going to do?
Yeah, exactly.
Now we're going to be racing around like big RC cars.
The remote controls.
Yeah, basically. Phil says, I love engines and anything mechanical, no complaints. Like years ago, I used to be really up on, Motorhead stuff, but man, it's been so long that I forget so much of it. I'm not going to lie. Blue Zombie says, looking for a 67 El Camino with a 383 stroker. Nice.
That's what I had in the vet, a 383 stroker.
Okay. See, I think, what year would that have been? It would have been, it was back when the Camaro was like the 93 to 97 style Camaro. Mm-hmm. But there's like a very special limited run that had a stroker motor to it. I've only ever seen one, but I can't remember what size it was. It might have been a 383. I can't remember. I just know I don't know how they even got that engine in that car. Like It was a tight freaking fit from the factory.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, all right, everybody. Well, I got one more thing for you, Charlie. Everybody, if you guys have any questions, now's the time to drop those questions, and we'll hit them quickly. What's your thoughts, Charlie, on how genetic testing is going to affect the market ball python wise? Good, like the good and the bad aspects of it. And also, do you think eventually we're going to have more genetic testing for other species coming out, or do you think it's just going to kind of stick just with the ball pythons because of how the market's kind of set?
Well, I'll answer the last one first. So I believe RGI is starting to work on corn snakes now.
Oh, okay.
They're asking for sheds for corn snakes. But other species, it's just going to have to be worth it money-wise to do the research.
Okay.
But as technology gets better, and who knows, all this genetic testing going on in research now, maybe somebody will figure out an easier, cheaper way to do all this, and we'll be able to do it easily. But how it's going to affect the market, I mean, you're already seeing it. You're seeing it on there. I see it when I give somebody results. Boom, next day, price just shot up. But it's good and bad. It's good. It has to be affordable, and it has to be for everybody. The bad thing it could be is if one guy is getting all his tests done way before everybody else and before anybody even knows about certain genetics, then that guy has a huge advantage. I'm not saying any of that is happening. I don't know. But if I was doing it and I said, hey, listen, Baker, you're the only one who I'm going to test all your sunsets for. So you could get ahead of the game right now, and you could charge so much more for this, and you could do this and that, blah, 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 make better stuff. Is it fair? Sure, I could do whatever the hell I want if I come up with it,
Yeah.
But, hopefully to level the playing field for everybody, it'll be affordable and everybody will have access to the same things. And then I think it'll be, the only thing I think it might be bad for is overproducing. Now that people are like, oh, I could breed this het to this non-het and just test. And now you're going to get a lot of snakes that aren't worth shit. And, that's the one thing. Like, a lot of people that are doing this just for their main job, they're going to go for whatever they can. They have to make all the money they can. This is their only job. And a lot of that, I believe, might be flooding the market. And you'll see that if everybody just starts breeding hets all the time now. I could be completely wrong, but that's just a couple of the thoughts that were in my head when you said that. But it's definitely good, like, for even the small breeder, it could save you money. Now you could, if somebody doesn't, and they're still selling a 50% het pied and they didn't ever got it tested, now you could take that chance and test it instead of wasting the year waiting and trying to prove it out, then not proving it out, and now wasting even more money. It helps the small breeders and it helps the large breeders. I don't think there's going to be that much negativity to it. And I think only in the future, more and more genes are going to be discovered. And I just hope that I could be a part of it and, be somebody that helps out and move things forward.
I know the one thing, and this can't be prevented by any means at all, because you're going to have people that want to be doing stupid, shady shit no matter what.
Of course.
But it's the people that would get a test done and then go back, it comes back negative. They're like, well, I'm just going to market it because without the test, it would have been a 66%. I'm just going to market that 66% so I can get that extra, I don't know, just say $50 or whatever out of the animal. Like, that's the only thing where I see it, like I say, it has no bearing on the testing itself, right, but it's just people doing shady shit like that. Like, it's
so that's why I want to make sure that I have a database, and I do. Every single test is marked down in an Excel spreadsheet, but I want it to be accessible online. So if somebody says on there, trying to think how it could work, but you would never know that it got tested or not. The only way to do it would be to ask like me or RGI, hey, did you do any tests for pied for this guy? You know, and then are you going to give out that information? I don't know.
I wonder if that could even be a legality thing there
right.
too.
Yeah. So, yeah, but again, it's just like now. I could sell you anything and tell you it's Het Monsoon Sunset Clown DG.
Yeah.
Is it? No. You know, no matter what, you still have to trust the buyer.
That's true.
You still have to trust the seller. No matter what.
Yeah, I knew what you meant.
Yeah, no matter what, it's still it comes back positive, and you're selling it to somebody. They still have to trust that the shed that you sent me is the shed of the snake that you're selling.
That's true.
I'm testing the shed.
I didn't think of that.
I'm testing the shed that you sent me. If you send me a shed and you want to test it for piebald, I'm telling you that the shed that you sent me is piebald.
Yeah.
If you send me a picture of the snake, if you tell me that this is the snake's identification number, I could put all that on a certificate. That could still mean absolutely nothing if you didn't send me the right shed.
Yeah, exactly. Ashley Nikita, what's up? Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you go check the replay. Will actually says here, Justin pays for the RGI testing, so he gets first dibs, I'm sure, LOL, I'm guessing. The other thing, well, the way I look at it is as well that Justin's that freaking far ahead that if there's a chance something's triple, quadruple head or, whatever, he knows. Like he's already got it tested and it wouldn't be leaving if it was, that situation. So, Justin's also not, I wouldn't think anyway, he'd be dumb enough to try to pull a fast one over people.
Right. And I see what Leviathan said, anyone willing to lie about 66% if they get negative results will likely lie about something else. So
true.
That's going to be the guy that's going to lie about his hets anyway.
Yeah. That's actually a good point. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
I know, like Kai says, in the future, we will stay away from 50%, 66% pos hats. Now, here's my only argument with that, Kai. For me, for instance, I've got that Exantic clutch that if it's not visual Exantic, it's 100% het Exantic, but everything's 50% het clown. For me, I don't want to spend the money to go and, because to me, it's just not worth it, especially since they're all males, except for the one female that I am letting go. But it doesn't justify the cost for me to go and get all those tested and this and that. It's just like, I'm just going to be honest. Hey, it's 50% chance. Like it could be there. It could not be there. I don't know. If you want to get it tested, have at it. But, I'm testing my visual Exantic stuff, but the stuff that isn't visual, I'm not going to waste the time or money on testing it. And, it can go to people that get it, want to test it. Hey, have at it. But,
yeah, and that's the plan. Like if we could get everything so that they could be tested on the gel, I'll be able to lower my prices, even more for groups of tests. So the plan is to hope that it'll be quicker for me to do. It'll be cheaper for me to do. So, I want to make it available to everybody for any snake they want. I understand money's difficult and not everybody is a big time breeder. Not everybody's going to go drop $65 a test on a snake that might not be worth that much. But if I have it and I could do it, I try to help people out as much as I can.
Will says, can you tell if you tested a snake already or only know you tested from that person? That's actually a good question.
Well, I would only know if you label the snake as so when people send me their shed, I tell them to put an identifier on it. So especially if you're sending more than one shed in, so that I know which one to tell you is het or not. And when you get it back that this is the snake that I sent. So if you send me a snake, a shed in an envelope that has the same marker, same code on it that you put on it, and I happen to look, I could tell that it was tested, but there's no way I would know based on the test results.
Okay.
I know RGI is working on that, trying to basically fingerprint the snakes as well, so that they could tell. But I don't know. I don't know how long that's going to be, or if that's what he even means by that question.
That would be interesting if you could basically like do a snake fingerprint type of deal. That would be neat.
Yeah.
Will says you need to say the hell with DG and Sunset and get puzzle and rainbow testing.
Will, send me some cash and I'll get the rainbow test, because there's not many of them out there.
Yeah, there's not many people working on projects, surprisingly. I mean, there's some neat stuff to be done with it, but
definitely, I think it's awesome. Yeah,
I do like the color palette of it, but I have not. I don't think I've seen an actual rainbow adult yet. I'm curious to see what they look like as adults. Jim says they're close to D Stripe or G Stripe 2. I'm excited about that one. That's right, Jim. You like G Stripe a lot. I forgot about that. Leviathan says, I agree, Will. RGI is super close to Sunset, and trying to develop that test is playing catch up rather than trying to fill a need that doesn't have a solution yet. Ashley, is DG close? Got a couple males to test. RGI has, well, half-ass has it. But Charlie doesn't have it yet.
No, I don't have it yet, and I don't know when that will be. Because especially since I know now that is so difficult to get, I don't think I'm even going to take a stab at that on my own.
And when you can watch the replay, Ashley, you'll also understand, like, you'll get to hear some of the reasoning why behind that as well, too. Yeah, even if I was testing for DG, I don't know if I would even take that gamble. Like, yeah, I think they kind of launched that one prematurely, in my opinion. Chris says Hannah's working on the G Stripe, I'm assuming.
Yes, she is.
Kai wants to test for puzzle and tri stripe. All right. Well, we actually hit 2 hours. We hit 2 hours, Charlie. I'm sorry.
Nah, no worries. I'm just sweating my ass off in this snake room.
All right. We're going to call it a night, folks. We're going to let Charlie get out of the snake room, cool off, go get some of the stuff that he needs to get done. Plus, you know, he might want to go sit down, have a couple of drinks, and enjoy the rest of his Memorial Day weekend. Everybody, if you caught this stream partway through, go back, rewatch it. There's a lot of killer freaking information in this as well. So go back, rewatch it. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you're new to the channel, hit that notification bell as well. Hit that thumbs up too, please. I greatly appreciate it. I also want to thank the sponsors here real quick. We've got my brother Nathan at Infinite Possible Pythons. Check him out if you have any branding needs, folks. Nathan is the guy to go to. Like, he's your one-stop shop as far as branding needs. And on top of it, the Bang Project, hit Nathan up. He is the go-to guy for the Bang Project. He's basically the one that's heading it up, in all honesty. So hit Nathan up. He's also working a bunch of other awesome ball python projects. He's doing some scaleless corn snakes, kahua geckos, crested geckos, leachianus geckos. Nathan's got a little bit of everything that he's working with. So check him out. And we got my brother Chris at S Reptilia. What more can I say? S Reptilia is a one-stop shop, folks. Blood pythons, ball pythons, boas, colubrids. Chris can hook you up basically with anything except for lizards. He can't hook you up with any lizards at the moment. Snake-wise, he's probably got something for you. But definitely check him out. If you're in PA, on the eastern side of PA, hit him up if you need rats as well. And he is Pennsylvania's distributor of Cocoa to Go and the Chipper. Check him out, which is the best. If you don't know, everybody, the best cocoa substrate on the market, in my opinion. Hit Chris up and tell him I sent you. And then also we've got the Gettysburg Reptile Expo LLC. July 15th is the next show. Be there. You're going to get to see myself and a whole bunch of other people that are always in this chat. It's probably, in my opinion, one of the best shows around. So definitely check it out. Husbandry Pro. Definitely click that affiliate link in the description down below or scan that QR code, folks. Free 30-day trial of the best reptile record-keeping and tracking software on the market. And on top of it, they just implemented Herp Social, which is like Facebook kind of, but it's all reptile stuff. And you can even sell on there as well. And it links to your Husbandry Pro. So check them out. Click that link and it just lets them know I sent you. So give it a shot. Free 30 days. You got nothing to lose. And then if you're not using Redline shipping yet, we're not affiliated with them yet, but we're working on it. But that's who I've started to use this year, and I'm super happy with the service I get. The prices are out of this world. Absolutely amazing prices, and you don't sacrifice any quality at all. Use code Robin60 for 60% off 2 shippings. Give it a shot. I guarantee you will love Redline shipping. And that, oh, holy crap, the chat went crazy here. Let me see here. Make sure we didn't miss anything. I think we're good. Yes, smash the like button, please, on your way out, everybody. And then also next week's live stream here at 8 p.m. Eastern time, everybody, is the round table. Do not miss it. It's going to be an amazing lineup, and it's going to be a good time. Definitely make sure you guys check it out because it's going to be a blast. Like Chris says here, Charlie, you come on July 1st. You better come, Charlie. You better come. Wait. Chris, you mean, okay. Actually, yeah, Charlie, I'll hit you up about this. I do a barbecue July 1st.
Nice.
So I don't know if you want to drive all the way from upstate New York for a freaking barbecue, but if you want to.
How far are you guys from Stroudsburg area?
Oh, God, Stroudsburg? Oh, I don't even know where Stroudsburg's at.
Yes.
I know Stroudsburg, but that's not Stroudsburg.
East Stroudsburg. It's about half hour from Scranton.
Oh, okay. Scranton's probably... Oh, God. Hold on here. I can tell you roughly.
Because my parents are out there now. They moved out there, so I go out there once in a while.
It would be 102 miles from my house to Scranton.
Are you west of there?
I would be south. Like, I'm in Lancaster County. I'm at, like, PA, Maryland, like, in that general vicinity. Like,
yeah, I'll check it out, and I'll see if it's a way I could get down there and then just swing up to my parents on the way home, spend the night there or something.
Okay. Also, once we get off here, I'll send you my address and all that info.
Yeah.
Chris is saying it's like 45 minutes.
Okay. And Chris, I got all your powder coat in, so I'll be making your sign shortly.
Ooh, signs. I think I did hear about this.
Yeah, I had to special order his really cool colors he's got there.
Dude, I can imagine that seafoam green is hard to come across. I'm not gonna lie.
I found it though. I got it.
See, all right. Adam's putting the heat on you here now. Because Adam is coming from Florida, so he says if he can make it, you can make it.
All right. Maybe I'll have to pick up some other cool animals that I can't get in New York while I'm in Pennsylvania.
Hey, you could. There's plenty of awesome stuff here. Yeah, we got, dude, it's not like this thing grew like massively. Like originally last year it's just PA, a bunch of PA people.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's branched out. Like we've got Adam coming from Florida. We've got Angie and Jeff of Celtic Balls coming from Missouri. Lindsay from Pico Pythons is coming from, I think she's in, is it Michigan? I think something like that. Like there's some people making some crazy ass drives.
All right, now I really got to try. July 1st.
Eric there from Drop Time. He's in New York. He's coming.
What day of the week is July 1st?
It's a Saturday.
All right, perfect.
Yeah, it's a Saturday. And for anybody that is making those, most of the, I would offer you a place to stay, but everybody that's already making the long drives, they took up all the free space. Lindsay actually took the last free space, which was a couch. She was like, that's fine with me. I'll take the couch. She's like, all right, hey, if you're cool with it, that works. I need someone in Pittsburgh to let me crash on their couch July and August. LOL. But yeah, I'll send you the info and everything after we get off here, Charlie.
Yeah, 100%. Awesome.
Adam says, I'm only doing it for the mileage taxes. Adam, you're funny. But anyway, everybody, I greatly appreciate everybody stopping in here tonight. Charlie, thank you so much for coming on, brother. I greatly appreciate you giving me your time.
Sorry about the internet connection and having to use my phone.
Dude, hey, it worked out. I know my first episode was freaking horrendous connection wise. Sometimes I wonder if it's not even on my end every once in a while.
Because I have my snake room is about 100+ feet from my house, but I hardwired it in, so it's not like I'm even on Wi-Fi or anything. And but that's when my wife texted me. Is like, "Hey, TV and internet are down." Okay, makes sense.
That's it. Yep, it makes sense now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Red Moon. Yeah, hit me up, Red Moon, and we can figure something out if you want to make the drive. But all right, everybody, thank you so much. Charlie, hang on here 1 second while we wrap this up. And everybody, I will catch you next week here, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also, this week's video, folks, you're going to get to see the 5 pickups that I got at Chris from S Reptilia's barbecue. So make sure you guys check out that video because basically I dove real deep into another project that I was originally just kind of dancing into slightly. Well, now I'm deep into it now. So watch a video, check and see what I brought back from that barbecue. Barbecues with snake breeders are dangerous. You get into a whole bunch of other stuff. That's all there is to that. But thank you so much for all the love and support, everybody. And I will catch you next week. Take care and have a great week and have a happy Memorial Day. And remember why we're celebrating. So keep that in mind. Everybody have a great week, and I'll catch you next weekend. Later.